So, we get another film from A24. Yes, another one. What's up, everybody, and welcome to my Bodies review. Thank you so much, guys, for clicking this. I really appreciate it. So this film tells the story of a group of rich 20-somethings who plan a party at a family mansion during a hurricane where they play a game that goes horribly wrong. So this is something that I've seen ads for only a couple times, maybe 3 times at the most. And that's saying a lot because I do go to the theater a bunch. Just about every weekend, and just the fact that I haven't really seen the advertisements for this that much as I go to the theater kind of says a lot. But when I watched it, I was interested. It looked like a genuine slasher film. It piqued my interest in a way. It looked like a genuine slasher, one of those whodunits, if you will. And me, as a casual fan of whodunits, referred to my love of Scream, I always do appreciate that. But was this really worth it, though? Did it really captivate me in a way that those others did? Starting off with the positives for Bodies. I will say that the setting was pretty satisfactory. It was very cool. I liked the whole idea of these group of friends, or kids, whatever you want to call them, in this remote place out in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of like a cabin in the woods scenario, only it's a mansion. I always like an idea of these kids just traipsing around this place out in the middle of nowhere, getting dispatched, supposedly. And just things going horribly wrong. Things just keep on popping up. I like that. I always like that scenario, especially during a hurricane and really bad weather. Now, of course, I'm somebody that has grew up with the Friday the 13th movies. And you see bad weather in those all the time with the killers chasing everybody. I like that in a setting. And that's kind of what this movie brought, at first. And it felt a lot like Clue, like a murder mystery. There's a good side to that, but there's also a downside to that, which I'll get to here in a minute. But I like the whole murder mystery and where this movie kind of took you in that route. It did look like a genuine slasher, and it did feel like a genuine slasher at first. But again, I always love it whenever horror movies takes place during a thunderstorm, because the way it sounded in the theater, the thunder rolling and everything else going on, it was tense in a way, and there was some jump scares that did get to me, but not much. But unfortunately, guys, that's all I can say good about this, because the rest of it was just downhill as we go into the negatives. The film just wasn't that interesting. It just didn't pique my interest. You can accept that this is taking place during a hurricane and bad weather, and people supposedly getting dispatched off, but after that, it just takes a nosedive, and it just wasn't that interesting. The movie didn't really know how to keep the interest going beyond that point. This was advertised as a slasher. Not really that vibe that I got. I mean, yeah, it did feel like a slasher at first. As the movie goes on from there, it just didn't really feel like a slasher. It was more of a whodunit, more of a murder mystery. Yeah, I like that aspect of it. But after watching the ads and the trailers, it really wasn't a good idea to advertise the movie like that. When you roll in with such expectations and want to see a genuine slasher movie, then it will disappoint you. And that's kind of my fault. I rolled into this expecting a genuine slasher. And even though it felt like that at first, as the movie goes on, you get it real quick. You understand real quick that, no, this is not that kind of movie at all. It would be fine if the advertisements didn't deceive you like it did, but it did. So unfortunately, you're just left kind of disappointed, kind of hanging in a way. That was my first disappointment. Second disappointment was the characters. You get to sit through the most insufferable characters ever. You have a douchebag here, a bitch there, and nobody knows what the hell is going on. You have these characters that is just not that interesting. By the time the second act hits and everything else is going down, you don't care about a single person in this because they were just insufferable. There were characters that you literally just do not give a crap about. They didn't attempt to give anybody a balance, like, at all. They're all like, oh, let's just stab each other in the back because you're the killer. No, you're the killer. No, I'm just assuming you're the killer, so you're a bad person. I'm going to kill you. That's all you ever get. It wasn't so much as like how they treated each other. It's just the way it was written. You get all these blame scenes to where nobody has a single clue. Get it? They're just assuming. They don't do any real detective work. Now, I know these are the type of characters that aren't, written like that aren't smart at all. You expect that by this point of the movie from characters like this. But it just, nobody had an ounce of brain in them to actually figure out what's going on. So they just went through the motions, delved into everything, and just made the wrong decisions throughout the whole entire movie. And it goes back to what I said. You just don't care about these characters because they're not trying. They just felt insufferable because of that reason alone. And you just don't care at all.
I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
They would spend like half an hour in some scenes, especially like the last 30 minutes, talking and you're the killer. No, you're the killer. Why were you here when you were supposed to be here? Why were you over that dead body and you were just coming from that area when I came in? No, you're the killer. No, you're... Just on and on and on. I was wanting to tear my hair out. I mean, honestly, it's like, just get the hell on with it. Which one are you the killer? Just freaking say it. And it just got so insufferable. It got so boring because of that. And again, it just wasn't that interesting at this point. It just felt like it was going nowhere. The dialogue was just furiously frustrating. You'd have characters that would use slang and other characters that would use catchphrases. And what's ironic is that this movie was self-aware. The characters would say those particular catchphrases and another character would correct them. It's like, who talks like that? You don't talk like that no more. And it just made it even more boring and insufferable. Get the f*** Again, it's just not interesting. Why are you talking about dialogue when you want to be figuring shit out instead of doing this? And you have one of the most laziest written endings in cinema history, to where by the time it was over with, I was leaving the theater uninterested, unsatisfied, and with a big fat question mark over my face. The question mark was just so fat you couldn't even see my face. That's how I felt. It just felt so unfinished, as if the filmmakers and writers rushed it too fast. And by the end, you're left just hanging, literally. It just... What the hell? What the hell? It felt so unsatisfying, like a fake orgasm. Yes, I said it. That's how much it infuriated me. It frustrated me. In the end, guys, this movie just wasn't for me. Maybe it was my fault. I was expecting a little bit too much, but blame the advertisers for that. Now, was this the most terrible movie I've ever seen? No, of course not. I can actually stand this one a lot more than some others. Believe me. But still, it just wasn't for me. I'm sorry, but it wasn't. So if you're somebody looking for some merits with this film, don't hold your breath. Skip this one because it's a swing and a miss. So Bodies, what was your thoughts on this? Have you seen it yet? Are you somebody that found some enjoyment in this? Did you have better luck with it than I did? Or like me, was this just not in your ballpark at all? Leave me a comment down below and give me your thoughts. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. Like, subscribe, comment, share, click that bell icon so you don't miss a thing. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.